Good.
Okay, well today I would like to talk to you about the injustice of the justice system. My goal today is to inform you guys of legislation that you might otherwise not know about. The current laws about the war on drugs, the Bush administration actually declared a war on drugs, effectively turning drug users into terrorists. Sentencing for drug convictions then in turn became just as severe as a violent act, offense. Keep in mind these are non-violent drug convictions that I'm talking about. You might say, well, drugs are really, really bad, and look at the rampant addiction and all the problems that they cause. But the truth is, only 13% of people who use alcohol or drugs actually become addicts, and that has to do with their genetics. It's a hereditary thing, okay? There is an option that some people are presented, and it's called deferred adjudication. And what they are told by their lawyers at the time is that this is a way for them to keep these offenses off of their record, in essence, wipe their slate clean. But basically, all it really does is prevent a person from serving any jail time. So let's say a person is facing 2 years of jail time. With deferred adjudication, they would go on a 10-year probation, pay thousands and thousands of dollars in fine, hundreds and hundreds of hours of community service, only at the end of that time to find out that the charges are still on their record. It does not show that they were convicted, but it does show the whole world that they had been charged at one time. Very stringent, very stringent. That's a very stringent act. If you have, if you get a ticket offense, a driving ticket, you can then be put in jail, and the terms of your deferred adjudication will be eliminated, even if you've been on it for 9.5 years and your sentence was 10. Okay. Keep in mind that these are non-violent crimes. I would like to say that again. The sentencing ranges up to 25 years, depending on the amount of product that the person is arrested with. 25 years. Amongst arrests that are marijuana related, 85% of these charges are simply possession charges. 85%. The FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, used to allow a person to clean their slate every 7 years. Credit, criminal record, as long as it was a nonviolent offense, and all of that. Well, in 1998, during the Clinton administration, they changed that law. So now, anything you do is going to be on your record for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter what it was. Anybody can see it. So in effect, the FCRA is now used to prevent people from recovering from the mistakes of their past. And that in itself is a form of cruel and unusual punishment. What does Texas gain? Why does Texas have such stringent laws? Well, Texas is called the prison state. We have more prisons in our state than any other state in the United States. One of the benefits that Texas has by putting so many people in prison is they get labor contracts from all types of different organizations, contracts that would otherwise go to private investors, just regular companies, maybe a company owned by you or me. And as well, the FCRA also profits from keeping these things on our records by selling state official records to background credit check companies. So all of our business is not only going to stay there, but it's being sold for profit. How does the sentences for nonviolent drug convictions compare to, say, other convictions? Well, a nonviolent drug offender can get 10 to 25 years for a drug user of considerable size, typically serving about 7 years of, say, a 15-year sentence before they are offered the possibility of parole. In comparison, the average sentence for a child molester who is convicted of the abuse of a child under the age of 13 or younger is 7 years, with only serving 3 years before they are offered parole. We have this, Texas has the slogan, the tough on crime. Basically, this war on drugs it's discriminating. It discriminates against people who prefer to use other forms of recreation besides alcohol. And it seems very imbalanced because if you think about alcohol and cigarettes, both of them are known killers. They are known killers. But yet these are the things that our government promotes for sale, allows to be sold to us. These are not dangerous drugs, according to our government. So these are things that nonviolent drug offenders cannot do. They cannot obtain a passport. They cannot get a gun permit. They cannot rent an apartment, but a child molester can, in a complex where there are children. And they can't find really, really good jobs because of the discrimination, the stigma that has been attached to people who use drugs. So what message is being sent to people who have made mistakes in their past? That there is no true justice. That after satisfying the terms of their sentences, that they are not allowed to wipe their slate clean. They are forever persecuted for the mistakes of their past. It's denying the constitutional right for the pursuit of happiness, and it makes criminals out of otherwise functional, law-abiding citizens, other than the fact that they choose to use illicit drugs. Does this help or hurt society? Well, there's a domino effect. The problem that Texas is dealing with now is that they have made so many criminals and convicts out of people who are charged with possession or with intent to distribute. And they have all these stringent laws that it only exacerbates the problem of unemployment, homelessness, families being able to flourish. It prevents all of that. The focus needs to shift from building more prisons to rewarding the individuals that comply with the terms of their sentencing and move on. That is not what happens. They're basically saying once a criminal, always a criminal. They take away a lot of the options people have for recovering and having success in their lives. A lot of times they're forced to go back into the same type of activity that got them arrested to begin with. Why I brought this subject up is because I myself have no criminal record. I've never been arrested. I've never been in trouble with the law. And I believed that if a person was convicted, that they deserved that conviction, and whatever went along with it, they deserved. Then I married my husband. My husband, when he was 18 years old, got in trouble with the law. He had a large amount of drug with possession with intent to sell or distribution or something. He spent over 10 years on probation. He took the deferred adjudication. We paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and he did thousands of hours of community service. And it was still the same thing. Once you've served this term, it's not going to be on your record. That did not turn out to be the case. My husband is now 38 years old, and for the entire time that we've been married, he has not been able to rent an apartment. It not only affects those who have committed the crime and have done the time, it affects their families, it affects their children. that is not right. That is not what our country is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the family. You might say, oh, well, you know, not too much time has gone by. You know, he was 18 and he's 38 now. That's only 20 years. You know, I might push it back. My Uncle Gene is 55 years old. When he was 18, he had a drug charge for possession of cocaine with intent to sell. They make hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're, you know, completely. My Aunt Sandy just got her master's degree. I mean, these are very well-adjusted citizens. Their home is, you know, $200,000 plus. They sold their house and bought a new one, and there was a lapse in between the time in which the new house would be ready. They decided to rent an apartment. My Uncle Gene couldn't do it. He could not get an apartment. They would not allow him on the lease. That's a long, long time to still be persecuted for a mistake you made when you were 18 years old. So, what other problems does this cause? Overcrowding of prisons. And now that they're making criminals out of small-time drug offenders, they're having to release hardened criminals from prison just to make room for this new influx of criminals, this new breed of felon. There are alternative ways in dealing with this. Public service, drug classes, life skill courses. These are things that would benefit the individual and the community that they live in. Restore the FCRA back to what it was. You know, let it be, you've done the time for the crime, and now it's tabula rasa, clean slate. Instead of punishing the person for the drug, punish the person for the crime. If a person goes out and robs a store, it doesn't matter if they're on drugs or not at the time. They still robbed a store. That is the violent crime. That is the thing that needs to be punished, not their personal decision to do an unpopular drug. In conclusion, there are many things in our country that are broken right now. Legislation such as this is one of the causes. There really isn't an act or a movement to change these things. There really isn't. But I do know, as someone who lives with someone who was almost a convicted felon, that my husband does not deserve the stigma that he has on him. He is a good man, he's a good father, and he is a great husband. And he has a lot to offer our community. He has a lot to give. He's very intelligent. He doesn't deserve to have this stigma follow him around for the rest of his life, and neither do we as his family. So this is just to let you guys know that, you know, it's not always what it seems. And just because it's called our justice system doesn't mean that it's just.